Okay, I guess we're live. Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Golden Shower Sunday stream. Good Lord, number 18th, last Sunday before Christmas. Today it's crazy. Got Hex here today, of course, as normal.
What's up?
And today we are joined by Dee, who we've had on before, but it was like it was when we were still figuring out our format, and there was a bunch of people.
Way loose back then.
I think there was like 5 of us on.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. We did a lot of those. We were crazy there for a minute, man. But anyway, so it's fun to have you on now. It's like just you, so we can talk to just you.
I know. Now I'm gonna have to actually talk.
I was just thinking the other day, what was your first account? Because you're not on your first account, right?
No, my very first one was Sweet D Says spelled correctly, and then Says with a EZ instead of spelled correctly for about 6.5 years, except there was a 14-month period where I was suspended, and so I was using definitely not Sweet D Says for a little over a year. And then I got my account back, and then I was suspended in May. And since then, I've had 4 or 5 accounts.
Gang.
I got that one to stick for 6 years, but yeah, now they hate me.
So yeah, you were on Twitter for a long time then, huh?
Yeah, since 2015.
And were you always doing like the kind of conspiracy stuff, or like where you would be compiling stuff, or did that kind of did Twitter make you kind of get into that?
Well, I don't know. I used to have a news website, so I guess I've kind of always been into it. Like, that was probably about 12 to 15 years ago.
Dang.
I actually tried to pull it up recently, and I was bummed because even though we haven't had the domain for a really long time, it was still able to get pulled up. Like, they just never erased it. And then a few weeks ago, I went to look at it again because I was going to archive everything. I just realized, like, oh, I should do that. And it's gone.
No.
But actually, somebody did archive some of the pages, so that was cool. I was able to find a couple articles, and like my home page is still saved. But they hated me then too. We wrote an article about Google and how they were spying on everybody, and this would have been in like 2008 probably. And we were going through, I don't remember who our host was. It might have been Wix or something. And all of a sudden one day we logged in and our stuff didn't work anymore. And they had basically suspended our website. And we had previously been using like Google Ads and SEO stuff, but I guess Google got mad about our article because it got reposted in a bunch of different places, like Activist Post and The Intercept and stuff. And so then our website got shut down for a while, and then they let us have it back eventually, and a bunch of stuff was missing and parts of it didn't work. And then I was just like, okay, fuck this. Whatever. I'm not going to keep doing this if it's just going to get shut down. And then now it's, almost 20 years later and it's still the same shit.
So they like went through your stuff and removed stuff even back then.
Yep.
These motherfuckers, man.
Yep. It was crazy. That was like probably the first time I ever experienced censorship like that directly, but I hadn't really tried to do anything previous to that. I was just working and doing stuff, and my husband and I thought it would be fun to have an independent news website, so we did that, and had a couple people writing for us for a little bit, but then we just stopped.
Well, yeah, when they like target you like that, it kind of like takes the wind out of your sails a little bit, and then
yeah, and we had other things that we were doing too, so it's just like, if it's going to be a hassle on top of regular life, then whatever. I'm still involved a little bit in things like that with a few people, but I don't do very much anymore. Mostly just help research or editing.
Yeah, you are very good at your research. No, we were talking before you came on because Paul hadn't followed you yet. And so both me and Hex separately at different times when we were together, like, yeah, she's great. She compiles all this stuff and puts it in all these threads and like but it's like why I always appreciate you. And I'm like thankful I found you early on during COVID stuff too, to start following you. And you would be like linking stuff you had written or you had made threads from like years prior, I remember.
Yeah. Honestly, it's partially just for me because I like to keep everything together. And if I'm already posting it anyways, then I might as well just keep it all together in one place so it's easier to find later. But after my last account got banned, I've been trying to make more, archive more pages and also bookmark them in my phone instead of just saving them on Twitter, because now I have so many articles and things that I've written that are gone, and it really sucks.
Yeah, it does suck too, because with like when you switch technology, new phones, new computer, like it's hard to like keep everything,
Yeah, it is. Luckily with my bookmarks, if I stay with Apple stuff, it'll all transfer. But yeah, but also I've been finding more and more articles lately that are just missing, like things that I already had bookmarked. And I go to it to send it to somebody, and it's like just a blank page. So archiving things is really important. And don't use Wayback Machine, because Taylor Lorenz's uncle owns Wayback Machine, supposedly, I've heard. And I have noticed on there that things get deleted, like things that even I've archived myself. So I know that it should be there, and they're gone. And it's kind of crazy because all the stuff that's archived about her gets taken down. So that's why I haven't looked into if it's her uncle or not, but people say that. And I'm like, you know what? Every time I try to go find an article about her in the archive, it's not there. So I believe it.
It's so creepy what they do, man. Like anything terrible we think they're doing much worse with all that crap.
It makes me really irritated when people, the whole like don't assign malice to something that could just be incompetence,
Right.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of fucking retarded people in the government and media and whatever, but somebody is telling them what to do,
Yeah.
And maybe that person's not evil, but if you're only taught something a certain way, or if you think this is the truth, then yeah, you're going to believe it. You're going to go along with it. You're not doing it to be evil. You're doing it to be good, whatever the situation is. But like, it's like with the doctors, all these people being like, well, why would you think doctors are doing this on purpose? And I'm like, no, I think they were taught wrong, you idiot. Like, no, I don't think they're trying to hurt you. I think they believe what they were taught, but somebody somewhere knows the actual truth, and I think that's what's frustrating is there is a lot of useful idiots, but don't pretend like these things are an accident.
Right.
Right.
It's like the people who have all the control in the world, you think they wouldn't be using that? Like, I just hate
Yeah.
when people like they can see, even when people are like, "Oh, corporations are evil," or "Ugly webo," and I'm like, yeah, do you understand that they are pulling the strings and doing all this stuff? Like, of course, and the government, like, it's just so bizarre.
It
Ugh.
is. It's funny. It's like there's a disconnect too, because on one hand, people will be like, "Oh, yeah, they're so evil," and then on the other hand, they'll be like, "Oh no, it's just because they're stupid." How do you rectify that? I don't know.
Do you think the whole Elon buying Twitter and stuff was kind of planned?
I have a lot of thoughts about Elon.
Do tell.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Elon is definitely controlled opposition, like 100%. And I am still really confused about how people don't know that. He became a young global leader for the WEF in 2008. That kind of stuff has been getting deleted from the internet too. So if you find things about it, you want to archive it. He openly wants to put tech inside your body.
Yep.
He has announced that he purchased Twitter on purpose to make X the everything app, like WeChat, which is China's everything app, which is their social credit monitoring system, basically, and controls things that they can do. You pay your bills from it, you do social media from it, you do, Nextdoor or whatever kind of shit from it. It's everything. And that's what he wants Twitter to be. And he is a young global leader. And there's things that come up about him that I don't give a fuck about. Like, okay, his dad had partial rights to mine in an emerald mine in South Africa for a few years before he was born. Who gives a fuck? Like, who cares about that? Why are you guys even bringing this up? It has nothing to do with him or what he's done in his life or what's going on. And the things about him that are bad that get discounted so easily make me crazy. Like the I don't know how to say her name, Ghislaine Maxwell picture at Vanity Fair, and everyone's like, "Oh, she photobombed him. She photobombed him." You fucking idiots. His first wife, okay, Justine Musk, is actual best friends with Ghislaine's sister, Isabel. I can send you screenshots of them talking on Twitter right now. 4 years. They're friends on Facebook. They, it's crazy. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna come to your house. We're gonna come see the kids. Blah 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 blah." With fucking Isabel Maxwell, Elon's wife. You're gonna tell me that while they were married, she was best friends with this bitch's sister, and you didn't know who that lady was? She accidentally photobombed you at a party?
Yeah. Yeah, and those people are accidentally friends with anybody in that club ever.
Well, he's been to multiple dinners with Epstein. His fucking brother Kimball got a girlfriend from Epstein. It's not even a question. Like, Epstein hooked him up with a girlfriend and they dated for 1.5 years. And it blows my mind. They're like the defenders of him, and it's hard because it's like, yeah, it's funny. And yeah, oh, look at the fucking liberal journalists are crying all over the place about getting suspended, and they don't understand that they have to delete the tweet to come back, and it's cracking me up.
Oh yeah, I saw that. They're like, "Oh my god, look at this." They make you.
Why didn't anybody write about this? It's like, are you joking? But
I don't know if Paul. Maybe I'll get Paul to pull that. I'll find that.
It's crazy. He's very involved with really disgusting people, and of course it's funny, and of course he's sticking it to the left because the right needs a hero. The right needs somebody that they trust to put all their credit card information onto Twitter. Like, they're not just gonna do that if it's Jack or if it's Arawag Kawali or whatever that guy is. And it's, I don't know. I understand that it's hard when you like somebody and it seems like they're good, and he has visionary ideas and stuff, but He's not your friend. He's not
your favor.
anything that is being done in our benefit on Twitter, which I still haven't seen yet. Honestly, for me, the experience is the same or worse.
Yeah.
It's not actually for you. It's like an accident that happens to benefit you, so that it's, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and when you see people hating on him, but like you have all these things that we could actually be distrustful of him for, but then you see people hating on him for like the dumbest stuff, and they're like,
oh, he could solve world hunger. No, he couldn't. But hey, guess what? He actually did go to Epstein's house and tour it with his wife, and then had his wife lie about it on the internet later. Like, so what's that about?
These people, man. It's like they're just like, it's just like this disease. I mean, I guess I could even fathom having that kind of power and money and control and stuff in the world. So I don't know if they're just, their brains are just completely far gone or what, but
I don't know. It's hard to know. I think some people are actually evil, but I think a lot of people think they're doing good, and the most evil has been done by people who think that they're doing the right thing, you know. So
the road to hell is paved with
exactly,
as they say.
it's true. Oh yeah, and like just that journalist that you responded to, the Colorado one the other day, that he was all like, he was whining and crying for not being known for anything good and for only being known for being an asshole on Twitter, which whose fault is that, fucking idiot?
yeah.
And then I'm like, hey, here's a breaking story about child porn actually being taken off. And the first thing he said is like, they got rid of all those people or whatever, like just trying to like talk about that. And then I don't know if you saw, but I had emailed the station. I talked about this this week too, but I was like, I emailed the news tips and was like, you have a I was totally Karen Dow. I was like, you have a journalist who is defending like child porn not being taken down, blah, blah. And then the guy who responded to me was the same kind of fucking brain dead idiot and was like, he sent me this article and there's like, he gutted this department and there was only one employee there and that's all they could say.
Yeah, and they keep saying that, and it's so stupid because seriously, I've been fighting with people about child porn on Twitter for over 6 years. You can ask anybody that had my old account. I had a huge thread of it, of different accounts that were promoting child porn, of things that were not getting taken down, of articles about it, all kinds of shit. And the way that it used to be on Twitter, you couldn't even report child porn. Like, click the tweet and report it. You had to go to a separate website, download this form, fill out this whole fucking page. Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody did it. Nobody ever took care of anything to do with child porn on Twitter. It was insane. They were using the tools that they were supposed to be using for child porn on us, to suspend us, to suppress us, to block hashtags of things that they didn't like instead of blocking the child porn hashtags. And maybe he did get the entire department and fire all of them. Good. They didn't fucking do their job. Yeah. Now you can directly report it. And guess what? Within like 1 week, there was over 44,000 child porn promoting accounts that were suspended. That never happened before. No. That's crazy. For years. He did it in 1 week. Okay. And like, I don't like him. I think he's scummy and a liar and a very hypocritical kind of baby bitchy person. But like, props where they're due, you know. Nobody else did that. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, what did Phobes say? Hey, everybody in the chat, by the way.
I can't see.
Yeah, like none of our accounts are coming back. So what the fuck?
So now one can bring up.
So frustrating.
Pissed me off about Elon is, you know, I never viewed him as a savior, but when you put out a poll saying, should there be site-wide amnesty for accounts that got suspended for basically bullshit, and then people overwhelmingly vote yes, and then you go, the people have spoken, next week amnesty will begin for people who didn't actually break the law and then don't follow through.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck?
Yep, I know, and everybody keeps acting like things are so much better and things have changed. Nothing has changed for me. I still get screenshots from people every day. Like, hey, did you know this tweet's getting shadow banned? And it says tweet unavailable. And if you go to my page, it's clearly still there. I can see it. So it sucks. I got suspended recently for saying I know she's a spook slut, but I can't stop loving her, about Courtney Love. And I was like, are sluts a protected class now? Or somebody told me maybe he thought I meant spook like a black person instead of a CIA agent, and that's what got me suspended. And I'm like, how can you say I know this person is this, but I love them, and that gets you suspended? That's so like, it's a goddamn celebrity, first of all, and I'm just saying, like, she's a well-known whore, and she's been an asset. Like, you know, what the fuck?
This is Courtney Love, you said? Yeah. I did love her, and I loved her in Larry Flint. I thought she fucking nailed that role, but she was being a druggy fucking slut.
She wasn't acting.
Yeah, I was like, that would be such a fun movie to make for her. Like, totally orgies and shit all the time. Yeah, no, that is done. And like, people are still getting suspended for like nothing. And I don't. At my last account, I still have never gotten a reason why. I never got a reason why. I keep appealing, and they do send an email at least to say, hey, is this account, you know, where you have to email them back? Like, it's a different process each time. It's just tell me. But then I'm like, maybe they're held up in the Twitter files research going on. I don't know, because now we're getting more and more people showing up on those that we know.
Yeah,
so who knows?
I know, it's crazy. Oh my god, the recent one, how much they were going after parody accounts. The fucking FBI. Sorry, I'm cussing too much.
No, you're fine. If it gets pulled down, it's on Odyssey, and we got the.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We knew it already, anyways. I don't think it was really that much of a secret, as much as some people are acting like. It's more just like verification, you know? It's like when you read the studies 2 years ago and then now CNN says it, you're like, well, you know, we already knew that, but thank you for telling us officially.
Better late than never, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know, like, it's all stuff we basically knew was happening, and then we're like, nothing will come of it because they can do whatever they want. Like, I'm sure they already hired another 80 fucking nerds to fucking go through social media posts. And how could they, like, that just shows how stupid they are. Like, they can't know that Claire Foster was a fucking parody account.
Right?
Like, how do you fucking not know that while you're watching it? Like,
I don't know, man. I don't know. Some of the things that I've been suspended for, I'm really like, yeah. How do you not see that this is a joke? How can you not tell that the person that I said it to liked it and then responded to it in kind because we're clearly joking with each other? Like, I don't know.
And that, I don't know if that will change, because if, like, everyone's still getting suspended for not doing anything. So I have said retard a lot more, and the account's still up. So we'll see.
I'm still looked at more than other people, and I cannot say retard. I can't say shit or shitty. I get pop-ups. It's crazy.
It's dumb.
Yeah, I posted a video a few weeks ago. I'm sure I put it in a thread somewhere or bookmarked it, about how they're tracking people on different platforms and things, and how they know when you come back, they know it's you, even if they let you stay. There's little, computer stuff that lets them know that it's the same device or the same IP address or whatever. Or even if you have your VPN, there's things that they can do to tell, or post your picture, or use certain hashtags like Find My Friends and stuff like that. And the guy that was in it has gone to some kind of Senate hearing to talk about this stuff and be like, why are you guys just spying and pushing down regular people so much? Because it's, I don't remember my point now. I lost my point. They know who you are when you come back, and they track you. And if they already had you on, a list or whatever previously, you're still going to be on it. And it's really, really clear to me, and it sucks. But I'm glad that it's verified because otherwise I would really feel like a crazy person. Because when I got suspended from Twitter, these things started happening to me on Instagram too. And I get suspended from Instagram. Like if you post something on your whatever, you post a picture, and then I add it to my story and Instagram doesn't like it, I get suspended. And then when I come back from my suspension, you still have it posted.
That's so fucked up. That's it. That means it's just some fucking human. It's a human, or it has to be at that point,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. Or I'm in like some weird algorithm. And I'm like, I don't think I do anything that great. I never had that big of an account. I don't know why they shit on me so much. I think part of it is a guilty by association thing. And maybe I connect multiple people that they really don't like, because I did notice on Twitter, I didn't have these problems that much until I started associating more with a couple certain groups of people. And even if I wasn't saying anything wrong, I was still getting suppressed. And I think that was part of what kind of brought me into that.
Yeah, that would make sense. I've said something that kind of like that before. Like on the back end, they have to be looking at the reach and like this specific.
Yeah, that was
way.
part. I think that's what my point was when I started talking about this. That was part of the video about the guy that was. I think he was running for Senate even, but he was really railing against this. Like, why are you guys basically putting little cookies on people so that everywhere they travel and everywhere they go, there's these trails, and they can see who you're associating with. They can see when you leave from Twitter and you go to your Instagram account, they know where you went next. Like everything you do on an app is tracked. Like, so
Yeah.
how long you're staring at a post, how many seconds, how long you watch a video, if you flip up and then go back down, if you click on something and start typing and then don't, and where you were before you got on it and where you go after you leave it. And that's so scary.
Well, that's how they knew exactly how to brainwash everyone too. They knew exactly what to do, like how fast the COVID stuff set in. I mean, they've been studying this for a couple of years now, exactly what they needed to say, when they needed to say it, who needed
I'm
to say
sure
it.
they do. I'm sure there's something with Twitter and like YouTube, where, okay, if somebody's looking at Twitter, then they're most likely going to go to YouTube to find a video about whatever they just saw. So then the algorithms are going to be, syncing up to try and make the same type of information be there. And I don't know, every day I think about that Sinclair Media, like this is a threat to our democracy, all at the same time video, because it's really like that. It's just this monolith and of what they're trying to show us, and guide us towards. I feel like it's crazy.
And it's humans doing it. That's the scary part. It's like there are these people, like the 80 fucking nerds working for the, like these are humans who are showing up for these jobs and doing these things. And like we said, it's like, do they just think they're doing good, or like at some point they have to, we're, of course, though, when we talk about the bad about the government, we're the fascists. That's the whole thing. Like,
that's so crazy too. I'm like, okay, the people who don't want to control anything are the fascists. Like, do you really don't know what fascist means? You really don't.
They're like, no, you hate the government. That means you're a fascist. It's just, but like, and they are so correct in their mind. Like, you can't even argue, because it's just like they're so far gone. And I'm not even a smart person, and I had to figure out. I've said this a couple times now. Like over the last couple years, with all this suppression going on, all this censorship, a lot of us still found the fucking information. We still found.
That's how I feel, and that's why I get so angry. And I'm like, exactly. I don't think I'm not that smart of a person. I went to school for multiple things and finished one of them, but it's business. Who cares? It's nothing. And yeah, we figured out I can read a medical study. So why can't doctors? What's wrong with you guys that you can't figure this out when I smoke weed every day and I can figure it out?
I know. I know. I like had like all these charts and graphs last year. I was like, I taught myself how to read them because there were so many different, all those scattered, all this stuff I never learned. And I'm like, and I was in like accounting and stuff. So it was like, but you can teach yourself to learn stuff enough. But then that was why the whole don't look stuff up, only listen to the experts. That's what they were. So they're really that mind control of like shaming people for looking things up last year, where us people are like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and look that up myself, thanks, and we
like that meme that's like scientists doing research or something, and it shows like a lab with little beakers and shit like you would do if you were in high school, and then it's like doing research at home or doing my own research or whatever, and it's like a hunched over on the toilet person. I'm like, do you think like scientists don't also read on the toilet? What are you trying to do right now? Most of them aren't actually playing with liquids in the lab. They're just reading other studies. Like
they're doing real science like Fauci was doing, being a real doctor, just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was just sad seeing so many people fall into that psychological thing of just and like shaming. I literally had people I was friends with say, "Why are you looking at that YouTube?" or blah blah blah. And it's like, why not? Why wouldn't I look at stuff? Like what? Why? They were taught to shame people for that, and that's fucked. That's like we're fucked at that point. Just now, even with all the information, the Twitter files coming out, people aren't even looking into it. That group of people.
I know. I've seen two sides of that one. It's either like, oh, it's not a big deal, it doesn't even mean anything, and people that are just like, well, good, they should have been, they were breaking the rules. It's either like it wasn't happening or like it was the right thing to do, and I'm like, no, both of those are wrong. Like the government is literally emailing a company and telling them to suppress these people. You're crazy.
Oh yeah, they're like, well, the Biden team is just a campaign thing. It's not the government. It's like, oh yeah, because Biden hasn't been in the fucking government for 50 fucking years. Like,
yeah.
120, whatever he said.
Oh my god. But it is an information war. Like we are the meme fighters in the against the $1 billion, like that meme where it's like, but what else can you do? What else can we do? We have to feel like we've got to say shit. Like I have to say shit. That's the whole reason when COVID started. And I got off Facebook and I figured out Twitter and I said my shit. I did not care. Like I was saying it.
I know, me too. That's why I get suspended all the time.
It was funny because that's why people they like message me, oh, thank you for saying this out loud because I can't say it out loud. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like
I know, and that's something that's really frustrating lately with so many people being like, oh, we shouldn't be allowed to be anonymous and stuff like that. And
Fuck
like,
you,
do you know how little would be able to be said if people were not allowed to be anonymous? And I don't know, it blows my mind that anybody would not be able to recognize that sometimes you might have an opinion that could get you in trouble with somebody or make your employer just not want to deal with your problems anymore or whatever. It's, I don't know. And their argument's always like, well, you wouldn't say that to somebody in public. I'm like, bitch, if I walked up to you in public, would you know my name? Like, what are you talking about? I would still be anonymous. I can tell you I'm whatever name I want. You're being ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't like that whole drive because there's even some smaller-ish accounts that like I know are kind of in Liberty Twitter spheres that were like, yo, you should be anonymous, and I'm like, why? Just because you can't come up with a cool fake name, it doesn't mean like that. And I've actually like I've dropped little Easter egg stocks in myself through it, so I'm like they can't say I'm totally anonymous. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. Like I don't give a shit. What are you gonna do? Not hire me as your real estate broker? Okay, cool. Like I don't give a shit. Fuck you, anyway. Yeah, it's wild. Ugh. What else? I mean, obviously, I don't want to talk about the fucking bitch because I fucking hate that everyone talks about her. But it was funny her getting suspended last night. But I'm like, I feel like that's all part of the plan too. Like I just feel like everything is. I don't know.
I do too, and it's hard because on one hand, you don't want to be paranoid. But on the other hand, a lot of stuff really is happening. And when you look at the events that they have, like Davos and their little, Bilderberg meetings, basically, they're announcing these things. So, maybe it's not going to happen next week, but they want all the crazy shit, even the weirdest, craziest conspiracy theories. They came from somewhere. Like somebody did announce that or patent it or whatever. So, yeah, it's hard. I try and focus on ones that they've admitted lately and just look more deeply into that. I really don't like the push towards transhumanism. I don't like. I think that part of the COVID injection situation is because of future technology, but I don't know what or why, or if it was just to get people in the habit of getting the injections. I don't think it has like Bluetooth or whatever weird shit, but there's weird stuff in there that shouldn't be in a vaccine, and coupled with the other announcements like Nokia saying that by 2025 they're going to start having 6G set up, and that 6G is going to be what the first internal tech runs on, makes me feel like they need to start getting people ready to have the internal tech now if it's going to be launched and common in 3 years. You know what I mean? So it makes me really suspicious. And it's hard because there's so many crazy conspiracy videos, but some of them are really just nut jobs. I think a lot of it, honestly, is people trying to discredit the real dangers, basically. Yeah. Because when you look at the fact checkers about these things, it will always say the most ridiculous possible one, like the Bluetooth. Like people don't get the injection because it has, nanobots in it and they're controlling your brain, and Bill Gates can beam messages to you and make you do things or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's not what anybody actually thinks. Like, why aren't you discrediting the fact that there's metals and tech type stuff that really shouldn't be in a vaccine in there, instead of saying that you're discrediting something that nobody actually believes? You know what I mean? And that makes me more suspicious, because I don't know why the fact checkers won't just stop giving even more attention to the psycho shit and check the mid-level conspiracy theories. You know what I mean?
That's kind of how all of it is on tech right now too, though. Is like the most worst people. Like, I'm glad whatever Libs and TikTok can do all that shit and stuff, but I'm like, these people are fucking retards that would never get any attention otherwise, and we're amplifying them. Which, I have my weird theories on like propaganda and spells and stuff, and I'm like, that's part of it too. When we share what we don't like so much, it's like, it really does make it stronger. Just like last night, everyone was sharing Taylor Lorenz's video afterwards. And I'm like, this girl could be a witch for all we know, and like everyone's just helping amplify her spell because of how everything's been with her for the last couple months. I'm like, and this is someone who would get no attention, like in a normal hierarchy, in a normal group of people. She would be a boring, stupid bitch and no one would, she'd have friends or whatever. And this is me. Yeah. You know what I mean, though? Like in a natural world, none of these journalists, a lot of the local journalists, they would not be in these positions in a natural hierarchy world.
Nobody would know who they are. Yeah, no. Before social media, did you know regular journalists' names? Like if they didn't write a book, come on, somebody that works at the Washington Post. You're not following that journalist. That's crazy.
Yeah, now I feel like they control everything. So
up an interesting point with the spells, though. A lot of people don't. I feel like even if you don't believe in magic, you can take the magic part out of it and recognize that they are definitely doing psychological tricks on people, and the words that you say hold meaning. And words are not violence or all those things that the cuckoos try to say, but it the way that you say things definitely changes how people perceive. And also, like what you're saying, if it's amplified and people are focusing on it more, then they're going to hear these words more. It's going to change people's minds, because even if you don't agree with anything that she's saying, or you're just laughing at it, it's in your head now. Like, even if you forget exactly what she said, it's still going to be in there and still doing something to you, whether it's good or bad. And I think that is kind of an important thing for us to think about, especially being on social media a lot. I know there's times where I've not focused on that, and it's made me feel worse.
Yeah, I'm definitely like I watch and you see the patterns. Like you see all like before the elections, all the like local people and senators, all of a sudden they all say abortion. They all say abortion on the same
that was
day.
the only issue of any type of like campaign videos that I saw this year. And the only videos that I saw, and I think it's because my area is a red area in a state that has a big blue city. So I only saw Democrat ads. I didn't see any ads that said what the Democrat was doing that was positive. Every ad I saw was attacking the local Republican candidates. Excuse me. And every ad I saw was about abortion. That was the only issue that they promoted. They didn't talk about unions. They didn't talk about the environment, COVID, just abortion. And this person is going to join up with Mitch McConnell to ban abortion nationwide. Or just like a bunch of old ladies sitting around a table like, we fought so hard for this. And it was blowing my mind. And I couldn't skip them. They were the only commercials on YouTube that I couldn't skip. They forced me to watch these Democrat ads over and over and over. And every single commercial break, there was at least one of the ads was one of those ads. And I was like, you're not even telling me what you're going to do. You're just telling me you hate this lady because she might join up with Mitch McConnell. Like, what are you? It's crazy.
It's very clever marketing.
Well, and it worked, because in our state, a buttload of women went out and voted Democrat, and it was actually really close. So they must have known that that was the issue to get people out.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the lady out here who she's our current Secretary of State, and she won again. But like, what, she was making tweets about abortion on that same day. I'm like, why is this person talking about abortion? Like, it's just so, because I spend too much fucking time on there. You see it,
Yeah.
Like, and I started like screenshotting stuff, and then I was like, I'm driving myself crazy. Stop.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like so obvious what they do, and these words have very strong meaning. Like they wanted us banished from society unless we put something in our body we didn't need. But that's not my body, my choice. But then right away, back to the abortion debate, like, boom, like just right away. It's just.
Well, they know what buttons to push to get people's attention, to flip them over, to make them have feelings, and it works. And you can tell based on, I mean, even now, since we're kind of moving more globalist, the worldwide messaging, like look at Build Back Better. They were saying that for a year all over the world, and, the Netherlands and stuff like that, in the UK. And then it's Biden's slogan, because they're like, okay, this messaging sounds good. It's already kind of familiar, and it's, short and snappy, and it makes people think like, we're doing good. It's like the Obama with hope thing. We had just come off a bunch of shitty years after 9/11, and people wanted hope. That's the messaging. We're going to do this, and it's nuts. We all buy into different propaganda, but it is nuts when you're outside a lot of that, to watch just these huge seas of people seize onto something and just start believing it and defending it, even when there's no evidence that it's true or good or any more than a marketing slogan.
and they're just shallow. I understand too, like it is hard to think about all that stuff, but then it's like you kind of have to, and if you don't, then you're like the NPC or whatever, because you're just here and you don't care. Drives me nuts.
I know. I go back and forth with it because I think a lot of our problems as a species, I guess, it is because we're not really developed or designed to care about all these problems at the same time. Like people really need to care about their own life and their own family a little bit more, I think, and they would have a lot less anxiety. But it is hard. We're bombarded with different messages from different places all the time, and our little world is so affected by the whole world now at this point, instead of just being, how we evolved as a couple of people or a tribe or something like that, where that's pretty much your whole world and all you focus on. And realistically, we haven't had technology for that long. Like we're not ready for this. And you can kind of see it in kids with a lot of the behavior issues and stuff that they're having, and studies that are showing humans' attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and people can't even watch a movie without looking at their phone 30 times these days, But we need to be informed, but we need to also not worry about so many things that don't affect us as much, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to balance.
It is a hard balance because we're like, oh, the boomers not paying attention really fucked everything, not. I don't know that they could have stopped anything, voting, whatever, may not have done anything, but it's like even my dad's like, I'm sorry that this is all happening, and we kind of were just drifting along in the 90s and stuff, because
or people bought into it. I mean, I remember thinking that believing certain things about the government, especially after 9/11, or in the in the 90s. I was little, so I didn't really know anything, but totally bought into that kind of stuff for a while because I was young and because all my friends ended up going to Afghanistan, and it was just you're told that you're taught wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah, the government had this crazy idea to teach everybody, and then they taught them what they want to teach them. And it's like,
exactly, yeah.
Wow, I wonder why would that go bad? I can't believe that went bad.
Yeah.
How's your neck, by the way? I know you had some pain.
It hurts today actually, but it's okay.
Do you know
it's a little bit better?
Surgery or anything?
Yeah, I can tell that it helped a little bit, but then I also just had another procedure on Tuesday, so it's extra sore right now. But the one that I had on Tuesday was much less painful than it has been in the past. So I'm like, okay, well, that's good. That means that the nerves are dead. So I could my muscles have been getting really, really tight. And I think it's partially because I don't feel the pain as much right now. And so I've been doing more, but I'm not used to being able to do things. So now on this occipital area, it's it feels like I have a tumor. It's kind of crazy. There's a huge knot sticking out and it hurts. But other than that, it's actually doing okay.
That's good. I had friends with neck problems. It just seems like I can never get it back. It's just hard. Once it gets damaged, it is just hard to,
yeah.
Thank God we have tech. Thank God there is good uses for medicines and stuff.
Definitely.
And health or sick care, I should say. But I was like you said,
yeah.
kids are depressed, but then the parents are like, well, keep your phone, stay on the phone till 4 a.m, and take these antidepressants.
I know, and so many commercials for erectile dysfunction drugs and for antidepressants, and it's crazy. I don't like the government, but I do kind of wish we were one of those countries where pharmaceutical companies could not advertise.
Which is basically every country.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 or 3 countries that allow it. And we're one of them.
Us in New Zealand. Yeah, maybe one other one. No, it's crazy. This is a deep dive I'm going to start doing because a friend of mine out here, we want to kind of go after that news station with those fucking retards that work for it. But that Tegna, who owns a lot of stations around, they own a lot of stations. They've owned 66 stations. They had just sold the one out here just this year, but we were looking into it. And the people on the board of this the people who run all these news stations we're ex-Pfizer people, we're ex-Quest Diagnostic people, you know, just the same shit we've seen other places.
Yep.
So it's like I've been trying to that's gonna be my next like deep dive, kind of try to research on, just because we want to do like a little bit of a documentary on how awful these stupid male black journalists out here are. Like they're literally awful. They have damaged our state. Like I feel like we could present something that shows there's been like physical damage to our state from what they've said, what they've done, especially during COVID. You know, like one of them I thought was cool beforehand, and then like total fucking commie with all this shit. You know,
I
it's
know.
like what happened?
I know. It was crazy how many people just exposed themselves as, I don't know, not critical thinkers, scared people.
And it seems like they're controlled too. Like I'm like, I made a joke video where I'm like, yeah, as soon as Elon Musk bought it, all the journalists were like, oh my God, you know, and they're freaking out about free speech being bad for them. And I was like, so I made a joke video. I'm like, yeah, this is 9 News. And we believe censorship is good and necessary for democracy, because we have a strict narrative to stick to, include, you know, because of our corporate pharmaceutical sponsors, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, but that's real. It is real. Like they are controlled, what they can say and all that stuff. And
yeah.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah,
They
are. And you know, when they start to deviate, then they get in trouble and they leave. And it was funny because actually during COVID there was 2 journalists, or like TV kind of journalists. Oh, they might write too, I'm not sure. That I was kind of watching, and I started tweeting things out about them, like, you need to watch these 2 ladies, because I could tell when they were talking during a segment and they had a guest, they were holding their tongue and they didn't want to say it, you know. And then sure enough, within like a year of me being like, oh, this lady, it was Ivory Hecker and Kim Iverson. Both of them started getting like really agitated on TV when people were talking about COVID stuff. And then Ivory actually had like a on the news really quick and before she left kind of situation. But then Kim, I think she just quit the Hill and went and started her own thing. And I was like, good, because it's kind of like the, you know, there's no good cops, because when there is a good cop, they have to get fired or quit because they get frustrated with all of the corruption. And I feel kind of the same way about journalists. You know, if you're working for corporate media, no matter how much good you think you're doing, you're actually probably a bad person.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, after a certain point, and that's why this one guy, I felt like maybe there was a little human in there still, like maybe. But then he even got like, even just this last fall, he doubled down and was getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm like, I think they're just like, if they're human still, whatever, like they have to be terrible. Oh, yeah, let's watch this.
Right, before we get to that story, I want to let you, the viewers, know that Fox Corp has been muzzling me to keep certain information from you, the viewers. And from what I'm gathering, I am not the only reporter being subjected to this. I am going to be releasing some recordings about what goes on behind the scenes at Fox, because it applies to you, the viewers. I found a nonprofit journalism group called Project Veritas. It's going to help put that out tomorrow, so tune into them. But as for this heat wave across Texas, you can see what it's doing to AC.
Oh, that would feel so good, I'm sure, though, too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I would lose my mind. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to work for corporate media, because if I came to them, you know, like some of these people that knew about Epstein years ago and were like, hey, I want to talk about this story, you know, these kids are getting molested, whatever, and their company is just like, no. I would lose my shit.
I know, like, how do you do that? These are parents. A lot of them are parents, and they're still just like, do they think their kids won't get harmed? Like, is that in their mind? They're just like, no, I just work for the regime, and my kids will be protected by the regime. I mean, because it's not how it'll work in the end. Like, they'll use your kids against you to make sure, you know, they'll do that. that guy, that Wired article, just again, like saying with the research and knowing what's wrong, that when he said, oh, they gutted this department. Well, if you read the Wired article that this journalist sent me, it says 4 people quit from that department. They didn't, or they left. It didn't even say like they got fired.
And was that the one that was talking about the trust and safety team?
I think so. It was just mainly just
it
saying
was
that
like I remember. So then the extra funny thing about that was that one of the people that quit is Tony Podesta's daughter.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, the Podestas are in charge, making sure there's no child porn on Twitter. Are you like, is the simulation broken? Is this happening on purpose? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I remember you said that, and then someone's like, that sounds made up. And I'm like, I like literally put it into the search bar to pull up her announcement where she's leaving. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the guy was like, well, it doesn't say she was the head of the team. I'm like, she was a head.
She was there. That's all that fucking matters. And
well, the top 4 people, they all quit, and she was one of them.
Yeah, it's like, everyone just wants. That's why it's like so. When you see normal ass people trying to cover this shit up and whatever, and like I've always railed against, like with pedophilia, how it happens in families most, and families don't fucking say shit, and that's why we are where we are. So if it can happen there where people don't say anything, just imagine, like these people, like the power they have. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost at an hour. I don't know if you want to. Do you have any other deep dives you're working on or new conspiracies you're working on?
I don't know. I've been trying to recompile all the stuff that I posted on the old account about Elon because it's bothering me. It's bothering me that people, I don't know, they either just focus on the fact that his dad was part of rights owner to an emerald mine for a few years. And I'm like, that's the least interesting and the least evil thing that's going on here. I don't know. Lately, I've just been looking at, I guess, the whole private company thing where people have been pretending like these are private companies for a long time, and really they're riddled with FBI and DHS agents, and articles have been coming out about that for years, so I don't know why people refuse to read, I guess. It's frustrating. I'm kind of at a place now where I'm like, I'll keep compiling the information, but I'm not going to try to convince anybody of anything anymore. It's not really worth it to me. I'll give it to you, and if you want to read it and you want to talk about it or whatever, you can, but I'm not going to fight with people when they don't believe things, because it's a waste of time and it's not changing their mind. And occasionally I feel like the debates are good because it does change minds of people who read it later, because the people that are not involved in it are not as emotionally invested, or they don't have some weird, like, I need to defend my cognitive dissonance stance here situation going on. But I think a lot of the time it's just unnecessarily frustrating.
It's what do they say? Butterfly, or talking butterfly language to caterpillar people.
Yeah. That's funny.
You just can't. Like, you just can't. They're not there. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. Do you have anything you want to plug other than your Twitter? I know you don't have the website.
No, I have my website, but it's blocked on Twitter, so I can't even share it. I have to put spaces in it to share it because my t-shirts are too dangerous for Twitter.
Oh yeah, I have some of your I bought some of your tank tops. I should have worn one of those today. But all right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Oh, Hex, you can do your plugs, but everybody knows your plugs.
Yeah.
Links in the descriptions. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take us out, Paul.